Right, boys, the second banner is finally here. We have the Raven banner, now together with Eve, together with Mint, and together still with no one else. I thought Neon was here, but now Neon is gone. So we have 3 banners right now with Mint, with Raven, with Eve. We already did talk about the priority last week. If you guys are interested, the video is right here. My TLDR, in my opinion, what you guys should do, okay, how I play these games is that I like collecting all of the limited characters. So I do give priority to those units if I was a free-to-play player. But again, obviously it's always going to be different for free-to-plays, for spenders, for whales, for everything. Raven is a really good character, and I want to be making an updated guide. That's what this video is going to be about, an updated review on our girl Raven, because my god, she looks fine and has a nice asset as well. She's a really good character, not only for Iron Week content, she can be used anywhere, and as a rocket launcher, she's also benefiting a lot from the new units and the new buffers we've been getting into the game. So let's jump directly into this video. We're gonna be making an updated review, updated guide into our girl Raven. As usual, before we start, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and make it on the channel. And we can jump directly into this. So we can jump a little bit into how her kit works, and then we'll go into skill recommendations, we'll go into the build, the stats, team compositions you can be running in on, and obviously the pros and the cons for her. So when it comes to her skills, she's a pretty simple character. She's a plug and play character, right? One of these characters you just leave literally on full auto, because she needs to be doing full charge attacks while having an annoying auto mechanic, because she has a small delay when she attacks, right? So you have to be considering that small delay anytime you are attacking, which is kind of annoying. That's why most people do play her on plug and play, just forget about her and leave her on the team. Even like that, she's a pretty good character, and she's one of the few actually good sustained damage dealers we have. We have Mihara, we have her. I don't remember at the moment right now if there is any other notable sustained damage character, but she's a pretty good character. So skill 1 activates when performing full charge attacks, affects one enemy unit nearest to the crosshair, dealing some damage as sustained damage, stacking up to 10 times, lasting for 5 seconds. Activates when entering full burst, giving herself a nice 47% of caster's attack for 10 seconds. And this at level up 7 is going to be a 41. So from a 41 to a 47, and from a 59 to a 68 on the sustained damage. A pretty nice increase for a main damage dealer. If you're gonna be leveling it up, it's always worth it if you like her for the extra damage. Then we get her skill 2, activates when entering battle, affects self, giving her a damage to parts increase, and also when entering full burst, giving her even more damage to parts. And when someone destroys an enemy part, it's also going to be giving single point attack, increasing her sustained damage by 34% for 15 seconds, and removing vital attack if she's not on EN mode, right? So that's the other thing. And then we have burst skill, where she is going to be entering that EN mode. So by today's standards, with how fast the rotations are, this skill 2 loses a lot of value, right? But she's going to be doing some damage to all enemies, including parts, and that's why one of the reasons she's doing pretty good damage. She's gonna enter AN mode, where she's gonna be removing single point attack and instead gaining 89% sustained damage for 10 seconds, almost 90%, bro. It's crazy. Now, skill 2 doesn't really lose value per se, because you will be gaining sustained damage regardless if you are in full burst or not, right? If you are outside full burst with a skill 2, you gain sustained damage, and if you are entering full burst, then you would just be gaining 90% instead. This only procs with parts, which is like the only downside, I will say, if we could even call it the downside, is that it only breaks with damage to parts. So with that, the recommendation is pretty obvious, but it's a 10 for 10 for Raven. You could be taking a skill 2 to level 7 if she's like one of your main damage dealers, because from level 4 to level 7 it's still a 3% increase on these damage to parts, and it's a pretty nice increase as well on the damage. Sustained damage goes from 34 to 40, and if you were to take this to level 10, it's a 21, pretty nice, and a 47% instead. Now, could you be taking her to 10, 10, 10? In my opinion, it's kind of a waste, because the conditional of this being tied to parts. This depends on how Shift Up is feeling for raids, for new bosses and everything. So I will say level 4, if you like her. A level 7, it's fine, but not going any higher. And then a skill 1 and burst, you want to be going all in to level 10. Okay, they are where a lot of her damage is coming from. That's for the skill recommendations. Then we can talk about the gear and also about the cubes. When it comes to cubes, I think it's obvious, but there is only like one real option as usual for any rocket launcher that is slow, a 2-second reload time. You want to be going for resilience for the reload time, but since this is a character tied to damage parts and well, most damage dealers can't use it, you can also go for the distraction if it's leveled up. Distraction is a pretty good cube. I know we meme a lot on it, but it's a pretty good cube for endgame, for bosses. For campaign and for the majority of players, resilience and bastion is the play and the way to go. But if you are doing raids, you can be leveling up distraction, you can be leveling up rapture, you can be leveling up the piercing cube as well, right? So distraction and resilience are the best cubes. When it comes to gear, it's an omega simple character to build. You only care about attack, elemental damage, and some ammo. You want enough max ammo capacity that she has 10 bullets, so she can fully stack this up before having to reload. Now, that's on an ideal scenario, right? It depends on your gear, depends on how much you're shooting. I have 6, okay? So, not fantastic. But if you can get 10, that's more than enough. So, her build is super simple, elemental and attack take priority. You get max ammo only so she has at least 10 bullets or faster max stacks on her skill 1. It's not mandatory, but it's nice. Like we said earlier, between she being a 2-second reload and having an animation lock, the best thing to go for is going to be resilience, but distraction can also work, no problem. That said, let's go a bit over the pros and the cons as well, and then over her solo raid usage overall since she came out. This is a plug and play DPS thanks to her sustained damage and skill 1 and burst, right? Like, it's just, you leave her in there, forget about her, she's gonna be dealing really good damage on her own with all of those sustained skills. She needs to always full charge and has a delay, so just leave her on her own to do damage and forget about her. She's a cheap character to build because she only needs to be getting elemental and attack, nothing else, and you can ignore skill 2, making her a 10 for 10, which saves a lot of resources. My god, this skin looks fine, bro. Getting off track here. And then she's easy to slot into any team composition as a DPS because her personal buffs are not that big, so any support will help her damage output. Now, obviously, she's gonna be used mostly on iron weak teams, and the new characters are working really good with her. Her damage is increasing a lot. Any rocket launcher damage is increasing a lot thanks to the new characters that are increasing projectile explosions, right? Now, do you need to be putting her with Anis and Mint? No. Like I said, she can be used on any team. You can be pairing her with Eve. You can be pairing her on Iron Weak if you are using, for example, someone like your Helm Aquamarine can work with her. She can be slotted on any Iron team, no problem. She's not a needy girl. She doesn't need any specific buffs. And the only real sustained buffer we have is going to be the Summer Rosanna, and we don't use her on sustained teams. We use her mostly for the damage taken, right? Mostly, obviously. There are exceptions, but for the most part, she can be slotted with Summer Rosanna, she can be slotted into any Iron Weak team, and even for general content, as you guys can see from previous raids, she does get used. It's not a lot when it's outside of Iron, right? We get it about 0% on the last 2 raids. Then when it's Iron, it's always peaked. It goes up and down 1%, 0.7, 15%, 17% in here, 24, 37, and then this is when she came out. So it's a character that does get used even outside her element. Not a lot, and this is only a reference. Do not take it as she's meta, okay? But it's a nice character. I think the most important thing, even outside of that, it's simply that she's a limited character. And if I have to pick between a limited unit or Mint, as much as I love Mint, and she has probably one of the best assets they've released in the game recently, I cannot justify pulling for her when we do not know when Raven will be coming back, right? So, in my opinion, you have a copy of her, and if you probably will not regret it because they are both really good eye candy, even if they get power creep in the future. The character from collab that I have seen no one complain about, it's 2B for the ass. No one complains about 2B. So you can grab Eve and Raven without worrying too much about power creep in the future because they will still be great waifus. That said, that's basically everything for the updated review on Raven and my opinions on her currently and how to build her if you guys are interested. And I'm ranting enough yapping. We will be live tomorrow early morning for Trical. There is a new patch and new characters. If you guys are interested in that, links in the description as usual. Good luck with your pool, the raids, and I'll see you on the next one.